Every dollar Terry Rowland had saved over a lifetime was stacked into a large Tupperware container, $82,373. At age 79, he was aging and worried about keeping cash on hand. So during one of his daughter's visits, her name was Rebecca Brown, he asked her to open a joint bank account. Now, Rebecca was catching a flight home early the next day from Pittsburgh Airport and said she didn't have time to stop by the bank. So she would just take the cash with her. Now, she confirmed on a government website that it is legal to carry any amount of cash on a domestic flight. So she just tucked this cash away in her carry-on. But just minutes before departure in late August, a DEA agent met her at a busy gate and questioned her about where this cash came from. This cash, of course, showed up on a security scan. He insisted Rebecca put her father, Terry, on the phone to confirm her story about why she had the cash and what her intentions were with it. Rebecca said her father, who unfortunately is suffering from mental decline, was unable to verify some of the details of this story. She said the DEA agent just handed her the phone and said, "Your stories don't match. I'm seizing all the cash." And the DEA agent took her father's entire life savings there on the spot. Good morning. My name is Grant Henry. I'm the Grassroots Engagement Director with Americans for Prosperity here in Middle Tennessee. Now, a practice called civil asset forfeiture is what created the scenario for the story that you just heard. Civil asset forfeiture, for those that don't know, is the practice that allows law enforcement to seize your property if they suspect you of a crime, even if you're never actually convicted of that crime. I'm here this morning to tell you that we need your help to change this practice in the state of Tennessee. Sign the pledge linked at the top of this video to urge our law enforcement to tell them that reforming our civil asset forfeiture practices must be done now because it's the correct thing to do. Changing civil asset forfeiture laws must be done now because it will safeguard our fundamental due process and property rights. It's the constitutionally correct thing to do. Changing civil asset forfeiture laws must be done now because it will reinforce Tennesseans' confidence and trust in law enforcement institutions. It's the sociologically correct thing to do. Changing civil asset forfeiture laws must be done now because it will protect vulnerable individuals least able to defend their rights. It's the morally correct thing to do. This practice in Tennessee alone results in over $15 million in forfeited funds each year. That totals a little over $140 million since 2009. And the average seizure, every single year out of all that, is only $2,300. Furthermore, 75.6% of these cases that result in forfeiture in 2018, they were done by default, meaning that most of these individuals, they're not even showing up for their day in court, either because they can't get an attorney or they don't think it's worth their time fighting. Either way, some of these people may have just given up fighting to get their property back altogether. As we said before, in Tennessee, your property can be forfeited even if you've not been convicted of that crime. In fact, though, forfeiture may occur by showing that it's only 51% likely that your property was used in the commission of a crime. Tennessee is one of only 3 states that requires you to put up a $350 bond just to get your day in court, to defend to get your property back. Now, all those assets that are seized, all the funds that are seized, they go back directly to the precinct that did the seizing, not into some general state fund that's available to all of us. And lastly, even if you win your case, your attorney can only ask for $3,000 in attorney's fees, making it all less likely for you to be able to find an attorney to represent you. These things are happening right now to Tennesseans every single day. Our legislature is set to meet again in just about 3 weeks, and they will be considering some of these issues. We need your help right now to urge our legislators to support changing this practice. Please sign the pledge at the top of this video. Make your voice heard. Now, lastly, think about it this way. As recently as 2017, Justice Clarence Thomas said the following about civil asset forfeiture, quote, "This system, where police can seize property with limited judicial oversight and retain it for their own use, has led to well-chronicled and egregious abuses, which threatens individuals' property and due process right, and frequently targets the poor and other groups least able to defend their interest in forfeiture proceedings." Some legal experts have actually said this is a writing on the wall moment, that the Supreme Court is just waiting for the right fact pattern to arise to decide this case for all of us. Let's get this right before that happens. Let's be the state that shows all of our citizens that we protect our inherent, sacred, God-given due process and property rights because it's the right thing to do, not because the Supreme Court forced us to decide it that way. Let's set the standard now for the rest of the states to follow. So again, I'm asking you, sign this pledge at the top of the video, make your voice heard, ask our legislators to change this law now because it will safeguard our due process and property rights. It's the constitutionally correct thing to do. Ask our legislators to change this law now because it will reinforce Tennesseans' confidence and trust in law enforcement institutions. It's the sociologically correct thing to do. And ask our legislators to change this law now because it will protect the vulnerable individuals least able to defend their rights. It's the morally correct thing to do. Please sign that pledge. Thank you.